एनडीपी आगू जगमीत सिंह ने वुमेन एंड चाइल्ड केयर बारे गलबात करदियां कहा है कि इस वेले कोविड-19 ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਜੂਝ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਮਾਵਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੰਨਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਕੰਮ ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਗੀਆਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਲਈ ਕੋਈ ਸੁਰੱਖਿਅਤ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਨਾ ਮਿਲੇ। ਜਗਮੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੇ ਚਾਈਲਡ ਕੇਅਰ ਸੈਂਟਰਾਂ ਲਈ ਮਾਪਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਚਿੰਤਾ ਦਾ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਕੀਤਾ।
So first of all, thank you so much for being here today. And I'm really honored to be joined here with our local Member of Parliament, Laurel Collins. I want to talk about what a lot of parents are worried about is the fact that COVID-19 has really made it difficult for families to get childcare. And what we've seen in addition is that COVID-19 has disproportionately impacted women. The rate of participation for women is the lowest it's been in 30 years. And one of the ways for us to directly change that, to help out families, is to make sure childcare is affordable and accessible. While the BC pilot project has been life-changing, the federal government has simply not stepped up enough to make sure enough families can actually access affordable and accessible childcare. So what we're calling on the federal government to do is we put forward a motion. And in that motion, we called for an additional $2 billion of funding for childcare now for this year to fill in the gaps required because of smaller sizes in terms of spaces for childcare and the additional equipment and staff required. In addition, for the next 4 years, we're calling for $10 billion to truly achieve universal, affordable childcare. The federal government must acknowledge that if we want a recovery, we need to make sure women can get back to work, and that means ensuring that there's affordable and accessible childcare. The Liberals have promised universal childcare since the 90s. It's been over 20 years. We had them support a motion recently. Now we want to see action. It's not enough to say the words. We need to see Prime Minister Trudeau and the Liberal government back it up by implementing the right funding to get us to accessible and affordable childcare. With that, I want to pass the mic on to Laurel, who's going to share a story about what this would mean to families. Laurel?
As our economy starts to reopen, as businesses are starting back up, families are struggling and they're having to make these impossible decisions. I spoke to a family recently here in Victoria. They have a 4-year-old and they have had to make the tough decision for Anna, the mom, to not actually return to work, to stay home to care for her child while her partner returns to run his small business. They should never be put in the position of having to make this choice. Anna should not have to put her career on hold, and families just like them shouldn't be struggling. We know that this disproportionately impacts women, and as Jagmeet mentioned, we are at the lowest point for women's participation in the workforce in 30 years. That means we have lost the gains that we have made over the past 3 decades.